Red Lanterns number 5, written by Peter Milligan, art by Ed Benes and Diego Bernard. We left off last issue with Ziliosax, Scalax, and that last brain tentacle one that I'm forgetting the name of, all sinking into the blood ocean while Atrocitus discovers that Krona, the dead guardian, his body has been taken. This issue picks up right afterwards. Atrocitus walks up to the resting place of Krona, picks up his, casket or whatever you want to call it, just to double check that he wasn't underneath or something, and then immediately runs off to go punish Bleeze because he blames Bleeze for it. They get into a fight, and Atrocitus is like, oh, I know that you're conniving now that you're intelligent or whatever, but you owe me, and blah, blah, blah. How dare you take Krona? And Bleeze is like, okay, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's completely coincidence that he's missing at the same time that I'm smart. But here's the possibility that you may have overlooked through your rage. What if Krona's just alive again? Weirder things have happened. And Atrocitus is like, maybe. We cut real quick to that weird shadowy figure that we saw last issue briefly. He's still creeping around and he's saying gotta keep moving. Oh, here comes that pitiful fool, Atrocitus. We see Atrocitus going back to the casket, whatever you want to call it. It's just a big rock that he was resting on. I don't know what you want to call it. But he's like, no. He was dead. I punched my fist through his decaying body and I smelled his rotting meat. He's dead. But they're standing there like, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. He's not here, and I didn't take him, so... And Atrocitus turns over to Bleeze and is just like, all right, get those losers that we just threw in the blood ocean out of the blood ocean. We're going to need everyone we can in order to find Krona. And she's like, excuse me? It sucked the last time I went down there. I don't want to go down there again. Are you trying to get rid of me by, throwing me down there after them? And he's just like, enough! Go get them! I'm through with your insubordination. And she's like, well, fine, whatever, I guess. And... as she's picking herself up from being thrown around, Dexstar shows up and he's like, wow, one day your master's going to attack me one too many times. I hope you know that. And Dexstar just, I want to say it's a hiss, but it just looks like he's coughing up a hairball. So anyway, she dives into the blood ocean, goes down for Ratchet. That was the name of the last guy. And Ratchet's going through more of his memories of how he was tortured and what made him so rage-filled. And apparently, for wanting to feel contact with other members of his species, all of his, tendrils and all of his, I don't know what you call it, the extremities, they were all chopped off so that he couldn't feel anything. And then it was an 80-year sentence. On his 14th year, he went on a hunger strike, so they held his mouth open and filled it with the nutrients he needed. After 20 years, he started hallucinating. After 20 years, he started with the rage. After 40 years, he started hallucinating. And then finally, he got so enraged and so crazy, a red ring found him. He spontaneously grew a new tendril, and he put it on and became a Red Lantern. Atrocitus is then flying through the sky, and he's just like, oh man, this place kind of sucks, but hey, look, there are feet down there. They're slow and dragging, like a dead guy's feet would be. Better go investigate. And then an explosion happens, and he sees the dark figure coming after him, and he's like, whoa, hey, hold on, wait a minute. Krona, is that you? Krona, I'm so happy you're alive, so I get to kill you again myself. This is fantastic. But he starts getting the crap beat out of him, and then everything goes black, and that's where we leave for there at the moment. We cut back to Bleeze, who then pulls out Ziliosax, who, once again, does not have his origin story shared. They give the other two, but they specifically do not show Zilius's backstory. Anyway, so Bleeze lets the two of them know, hey, yeah, so Atrocitus wants us to send out divine retribution upon the people who have been evil or whatnot throughout the galaxy, so we're going to be a righteous fury. And Ratchet's like, okay, well, who decides righteous fury? Who decides who deserves it? And it's like, well, we do. He's like, so we're judge and jury? That doesn't seem right. And so he's just like, man, I like that idea. It sounds good to me, so how would you shut up? And he asked where the third one was, and Bleeze is like, oh, I couldn't find him. He's still down there. So then we cut to him, and he's still drowning in the blood ocean. Show a bit more of what happens after he got tossed in a furnace alive by a mob enforcer. And it shows that as his skin was burning off, he just became super enraged that he was betrayed by his like friend, I guess, his partner, whatever you want to call it, and a Red Rain found him. And so Bleeze drags him out, and he starts talking to them. And Ratchet makes the point of like, wait a minute, did you say you were like part of the mob? And he's like, yeah, I killed people. I killed a lot of people. And he's like, okay, well, all I did was want to touch. So it kind of disappoints me that Rage doesn't really differentiate between good and evil, which means that any sort of mission we have is not going to be one for good or evil. And Atrocitus shows up and just like, all right, all of you, shut up. We're not doing that righteous thing right now. Right now, we're hunting down Krona. And so he says the Red Lantern Oath and gets his team ready. Then we real quick cut back to Earth, where that story's been going on, and Jack is watching his brother being taken out by the police for arson. And as he's watching his brother be taken out, the brother like accidentally elbows, or purposely elbows even, a police officer, and that triggers the police officers beating him to death with their nightclubs. And yeah, his brother's just lying bloodied and dead on the sidewalk. He walks up to him, starts crying, and there's all this narration about, like, he lets himself be angry for the first time in his life, and the rage consumes him, and blah, blah, blah. But either way, Red Lantern Ring shows up, puts it on him, and now Jack Moore has finally lost control of his rage. And that's where we're leaving off with human Red Lantern Jack Moore. It's kind of a do-nothing issue, you know? Like, okay, Krona went away, but then, like, what even happened? Atrocitus blacked out, and then he came to, and then they just had their oath and did that. The only thing that really established in this issue is, okay, now he has 4 other lanterns that are smart and are able to think. And then, of course, the Jack Moore thing. Like that. But that feels so separate that it may as well be, like, a backup story at this point. It doesn't even feel like it's connected at all. It will be. Just looking at the cover of the next issue, it will be. But for right now, it just feels like okay, and then this happened. So overall, I'd say it's a 6. Like, it's fine, but it just kind of pivoted real quick since the end of the last issue of, okay, and now Krona's gone. Like, I was kind of looking forward to them spending the arc doing the Righteous Fury thing, but there's just like, yeah, but we'll get to that later. First, Krona's gone. And like, okay, I guess. Whatever. So, 6 for this one. Art's fine. Nothing to complain about. Pretty house style. So, yeah, we'll see what happens next issue.